Hey everyone, and welcome back to Klik TV Online. Here we discuss how businesses leverage technology for business success. My name is Brooke, also known as Tech Barbie, and my guest today is Mike Goss, the president of Blind Industries and Services of Maryland. Welcome, Mike. It's so nice to have you here, and I'm excited to talk with you about everything that's been going on with BISM, and just excited to have you here overall.
Well, glad to be here. Appreciate your giving me the opportunity to share what we do here and how technology plays a role.
I'm so happy to give you that opportunity. So let's get right into some questions I have prepared for you. How has your previous experience prepared and inspired you to work closely with the blind community?
Well, as you can probably tell by my glasses, that I actually am blind myself, and I have been all my life. Mainly, I grew up in kind of the consumer side of blindness, right? I was eligible for benefits because I'm blind, and as I became older, I got interested in advocacy for the blind community, other people like me. I have a background in electrical engineering, so I bring a little bit of technology to my perspective as well, and I've developed through the years some various accessibility tools for the community as well. I've worked in that area and struck out on my own. I ran my own business for a while, and the opportunity presented itself here at BISM to do accessibility for this particular group, which led to me being more interested in running the business as well. So that's how I kind of moved up the ladder, and I see my role here as making sure that everybody has the kind of opportunities that I've had. Throughout. Yeah.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit more about the glasses. So do they give you partial vision, or how do they work?
These glasses are actually developed for microsurgery for doctors. It happens to work well with my particular blindness. I have good central vision, but these magnify the central vision. Blindness, legal blindness is an acuity less than 2200, best corrected acuity less than 2200, or a field of vision less than 20 degrees. I generally have corrected vision at about 2200, a little less than that. These glasses give me about 20/60 vision, but only in about 5 degrees. So I'm still legally blind with these glasses on, but I can see like a portion of the computer screen, so I can see my own typing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think a lot of people have this idea that to be legally blind, that it just means everyone has the same completely no vision, the same experience, when I think it's actually a much more diverse group, and there can be different, like you said, different levels or conditions of how their particular vision has been affected. So I appreciate you sharing a little bit with me about those, about how your glasses work.
Blindness comes in lots of flavors, everywhere from that edge of the definition all the way down to no light perception at all. And everybody in that range has different needs and different ways that they use the vision they have, or adapt to blindness techniques that work for them, alternative techniques.
Yeah, and speaking of techniques, actually, I know that a big part of what BISM does is helping with giving training and career opportunities to this community. So, and through an educational kind of format as well. So how do you how do you approach creating a curriculum or a training program that is designed to build careers and also at the same time foster independence for the people that you work with?
We're big fans of not reinventing the wheel. And the people who know how to do things, do things without vision the most are blind people. So we take people who understand how to live independently and work independently as a blind person, and we use their knowledge. They develop the curriculum, they run the programs, our training programs. Everybody who is in our training department either has been blind, lived as a blind person successfully, or gone through a very similar training program themselves and learned those techniques. We combine that with when you're out on, we also employ people in various production areas as well as administrative areas. We combine those people with the skills of blindness with the people and the skills of that particular process, that job. And we see how we adapt each step of the way. Not everything can be adapted. We understand that. But at the same time, we are very rigorous to not just assume that something can't be adapted, something can't be done non-visually.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, you came from a career in electric engineering, correct?
Electrical engineering,
and electrical engineering. And so it's the same thing, I'm sure, with people who come in, if they have an interest in working in this department or an interest in working in this and finding the place that best uses their talents and their interests. I think that's an amazing way to build out your program. Obviously, I have to bring up technology, as Klik Solutions is a technology and I manage IT provider. So I wanted to know, what role does technology play in not only your day-to-day operations, but also in ensuring accessibility for the blind community? How does technology impact both of those things?
Well, it's an interesting combination. In our, we're a very modern company. We have all the aspects. We have accounting, we have an IT department, we have customer service, and we have manufacturing. And it might surprise you to know that in the manufacturing aspect, because we want to employ as many blind people as we can, sometimes we don't take the automated solution because that would eliminate jobs. And sometimes those automated solutions aren't accessible. They're designed for people to use, touch screen controls and all that stuff, which have not been necessarily made accessible. And we do try to make an effort to convert those things to accessible technologies. But at the same time, we understand that for a lot of the business side of the operation, things can be adapted and use technology. We're in the process right now of changing our entire enterprise software package because the old package wasn't accessible at all. It was technology, but it wasn't accessible to screen readers and things like that.
It wasn't tailored your audience, your community.
Right. And some of the newer technologies are web-based, cloud-based technologies, much more uniform in how access technologies can work with them. So that's why we're taking that effort on. And just a little history about technology and blindness. Back in the late 80s, blind people actually had the first access to personal note takers. Before BlackBerries existed and devices like that, blind people had a device that they could take notes on using the Braille keyboard, so the 6-key keyboard, and audio feedback, so they could keep they could do a note taking, address book, all that stuff. And then the technology changed when it went to computers, because initially computers weren't very accessible.
Yeah,
they didn't have the technology. So there was that. They jumped ahead for a little while with that technology, and then until we really got into the 2000s and the web being more accessible, there was a time when there was really a struggle to make people understand that you can build technology that isn't usable by blind people. And we've made a lot of progress, but until people start thinking about how accessibility is built in from the start, there'll always be this lag for the access that blind people need versus the new technology that's come out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's, like you were saying, back then, technology and accessibility just for all people is extremely low. And now we all have computers that we can carry around in our pocket every day. I know we use Microsoft Copilot, and there's an AI generated meeting note taker. So what they were having to do back then, the start of that technology has just continued to evolved.
A very creative engineer happened to know some blind people, and he said, "Oh, I know I can make this for you," and that's how it really started back in the 80s. So
that's amazing. I love that. My next question for you is, in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges right now facing the blind community today in terms of education, employment, accessibility, all things I know that you work with very closely? And how do you think technology could aid in overcoming these obstacles?
First of all, we see technology as one tool in your tool belt, right?
Definitely.
But it's such a critical tool these days.
Yeah, a big one to have.
Yes, a big one to have. So even with our seniors who come in, and maybe they aren't technology users in their lives, and I think that's probably going to change over the next couple of years, where every senior, we call them seniors now, but they will have been the first internet users when they. But
by the time
they get to that age.
Right.
But when we started the program with our seniors, technology wasn't universal for that age group. And we teach technology right from the start with our seniors. But when you talk about the overall needs of the blindness community, the misconceptions about blindness, it's that about capabilities, and that if you lose your vision, because the majority of blind people lose their vision at some point. It's not something they're born with. There are plenty of people who are born with blindness or vision loss early on.
Right.
That their lives somehow are over, right? That whatever they were doing before, they can't continue doing. And it has a lot to do with what access you have to the information. And that's why your particular podcast here is important, because if we reach some people who then know some people, right, they understand that what they can do is go get the right training. Go find the people with the right attitude. BISM's a resource here in Maryland, but there are plenty of resources throughout the country where locally you can find an opportunity to learn the skills of blindness. Maybe you don't want to continue what you were doing before, but maybe you can. Maybe you don't have to change your life. Maybe you don't have to give up the things you really enjoyed doing before.
Absolutely. And I think what you're doing is especially powerful, being in the community and changing that narrative, like you were saying, that just because, yes, this is an obstacle for you and you're going to face challenges does not mean that life is over or that those challenges are not surmountable and you can't continue to thrive. And I love that you offer the people of Maryland a community and a space to excel and to be successful and to feel confident in their career, in their education, in their accessibility, in all of those aspects. I think that's amazing. And I really appreciate having you on, Mike, as a guest. Before we go, are there any other big misconceptions that you want to debunk while I have you here?
Well, a lot of the time,
straight.
Yeah, a lot of the times, people assume that disabilities come in packages, right? Mm-hmm. That if you can't see, you can't hear as well, or you can't walk as well, and it's really
true.
It's just the one thing, right? You just can't see, and it doesn't mean you're not literate, right? If I ask somebody to read a sign for me that I can't see, or directions, that's what I'm asking about. It's not anything bigger than that, right? So if I need directions to the local store, it doesn't mean you have to take me there. I just asked you for directions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe
there's a lot of that that goes on. We do have a courtesy rules of blindness, which you can find on our website, www.bism.org.
We'll plug that. We'll plug that below. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So they can all check it out.
Because there's resources there. If you just have information you want to know about blindness and what we do, and if we can help you or anybody you know, we're here for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to piggyback off your comment about the packages that people envision that kind of help spread this narrative that it's impossible to be a living, breathing, functioning member of society. I believe it's true that when you have one of your senses, like sight or hearing, altered, it actually heightens other senses. Like, do you feel that you have a higher, like a better sense of hearing, or is that a myth?
That is actually a myth. My wife will confirm that myth.
What? Debunked. You heard it here first. That's not actually factually true. I've gone my whole life thinking that.
What we do here is we train people to pay more attention to what their other senses are telling them, but you don't have a greater range of scientifically measurable sense of smell or touch or hearing.
Right. Or you taste things like 10 times stronger, like anything crazy like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You just learn how to pay attention to them differently.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely sounds like a more accurate way of interpreting it. So I definitely learned something new today. I hope all of you viewers also learned something. Again, Mike, thank you so much for your time and for talking to me today. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, until next time, thank you for watching Klik TV Online. Bye.